Here. Solomon.
Here.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
3, for public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is available for review. It's above Zach. 4, notice of changes in the agenda by the city clerk. Additions may not be made to this agenda less than 24 hours before the beginning of the meeting, unless added under item 5 of this agenda. Do we have any changes?
No changes, Your Honor.
5, citizens with business not scheduled on the agenda as required by state law, no matter may be considered under this item unless council determines that the matter requires emergency action. Do we have any emergency actions? Okay. 6, closed session. A, council reserves the right to enter into closed session if deemed necessary. If the item is on the agenda as per section 84-1410 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes. 7, consent calendar. Items in the consent calendar are proposed for adoption by one action for all items unless any member of the council requests that an item be considered separately. Do we have any questions or comments on the consent calendar? Do you have Eight, public hearings. Council to conduct a public hearing set for this date at 6 p.m. to consider the 1 and 6 year
Target and hooks on to 27th Street.
Okay.
That would be for the property they purchased. And the rest of those projects down below have been, you've seen those before. And as they come forward, or there's a funding source, then they contact me and I'll move those up. But for this year, there isn't any so far. but just the 18th Avenue project for the 1 year. That'd be concrete paving, 8-inch thick, sidewalks both sides, 60-inch culvert for the canal, swimming across the canal, and lighting.
Okay.
And if it doesn't happen, then the next year, the next guy can delay that, but delay, and then it will come back forward at the end of 1 year. And any projects that are down below or new ones can come forward with Form 10. This is just to get through the public hearing for tonight, so I can do Form 7. Go to Form 10, you can revise these, we can do anything we want with those projects.
So we're only locked into place for the 1 year segment.
Right, and they're not even locked in, it's just a planning tool. But most of the time, there is a funding source for that project.
Okay.
But it can be delayed, they can be dropped. It just depends on if the funding comes through and they go through the project.
Mark, on your transportation map, 264 or 269 at the top of the map, is there a housing development going up there where we have roads marked?
Planned.
Planned, okay.
And again, that the out years are this is just a planning tool.
Okay.
They've been talked about, they have to come forward with any funding or drawings that we can look at, but at least gets it on paper and on the map.
Okay.
Oh, and the resurfacing, I was gonna ask you about that. The resurfacing of the streets, will that be this summer?
The chip seal?
Chip seal?
It will.
Okay.
Right, about 2.5 million. And I don't have to report that on the 1 and 6 because it's only maintenance.
Oh, okay.
So those aren't reported. We wouldn't have enough paper to put all those streets on for chip seal, but it's not required to report those, it's just maintenance.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. close the public hearing. All right, 9, resolution and ordinances. A, council to approve the resolution authorizing the signing of the annual certification of program compliance to Nebraska Board of Public Roads Classifications and Standards 2024 and authorize the mayor to sign the resolution.
And each year, I'm required to follow a number of compliance checks from the state. As you read down through those are what I do. I do those each year, all of our inventory reporting streets. And I've done all of those. And so I recommend approval of the certificate of compliance. Much like last year's and the year before, and the years before that, but I have complied with 1.6.
And a requirement to receive our highway funds.
That is a requirement.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Solomon, second by Colwell. Any questions or comments? Okay, call the roll, please.
Solomon,
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
B, council to consider action on the first reading of the ordinance amending and correcting certain charges in Chapter 6, Article 6 for solid waste collection fees at Sections 24 and 27 of the Municipal Code.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Blaine Desire, Finance Director. I thought after the budget you guys weren't done with me yet, so I figured I'd come back one more time. This is part of the budget process. This actually happened last year too, and we had to do this, and so I'm gonna thank Janie at the Solid Waste Department who caught this and can help me find this section of the ordinance. We did this in November last year, and so all the changes where it says each time the container's emptied, in the original ordinance, it says like $6.76 instead of $13.52, so those were just like cut in half. For whatever reason, and then 6-6-27 was not included in that original ordinance. And what that is for commercial customers, they get an extra pickup throughout the week is what that is. So they're gonna get, if you have a 90-gallon container and you get it picked up once a week, it's $54.06. If you call, you need that extra pickup, it's that $13.52 instead of the $6.76. That's what it would be too. So I'm also going to request that we waive the 3 readings on this as well too, and we can do that just so what we're charging is what our ordinance says as well, so.
So what we're charging, this is already what we're charging.
No, right now it would be $6.76, because that's what the ordinance said, but it should be that they're getting 52, because even last year it was like 13.13, I think, or 13.12 is what it was last year, and then it would have dropped to $6.76, had Jamie not caught this, so. So next year when we do that ordinance, I'll make sure that we have this included in there, or we can make sure that we can include that all in the one ordinance and not have to come back and do this again. And that's what our fee schedule at the solid waste department says right now, that's what they would be charging, and environmental services would be $13.52 is what, that's what they think we should be charging. Until Janie got the ordinance, they showed that it wasn't, and so that's why we'd like to waive the 3 readings on this, so we can just be up to what our ordinances for the fees.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
Do we need a wave?
First we need to waive the 3 readings. Do we have a motion to
Can I
waive?
ask one more question, Jeannie, real quick? So can you, just to clarify, are these changes affecting customers at this point or not?
So.
Like, do people know that these, like, you said
It's
that,
not very often that we get somebody who needs the extra pickup.
okay,
That's the only charge, that $54.06 is the monthly charge, and that's in the ordinance now, so that won't change.
okay,
It's just that if they need the extra pickup is all that
Okay.
would be changing, that's the part that was, and I don't know if it had to do with switching from the bi-monthly to the monthly billing, if that's why that was the way it was, I'm not sure.
Sure.
I wasn't here when we did it the first time, but I know that it wasn't in there last year, because the November was dated November, is that right? I think it was November last year when we came back and did this, was right before I got here last year, and so I missed this when we were doing the budget process, but
okay, thank you.
yeah.
Okay, Call the roll, please.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve the ordinance?
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Colwell, second by Solomon. Any questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
10, petitions, communications, and public input. A, council to receive an update from Nebraska Public Power District on the Scottsbluff Power Project.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just got thrown into this about a half hour ago, so. My name is Jim Schaefer with Nebraska Public Power. I'm a senior project coordinator for the district. Basically, I oversee construction projects around the state for building lines, power lines and substations. So I think you've been briefed earlier, but NPP's building a 115,000 volt power line, and it'll tie our substations together from our office downtown Beltline. It'll kind of weave its way west through and out around town up to the north. We've got a substation up on Mediterranean Lake Road called Victory Hill. So about approximately a 10-mile line, and it'll tie those together. It's to reduce the congestion. That's for reliability for the city and surrounding areas. Just kind of run down through here. It shows our milestones. When our board approved it back in 22, and line route was finalized in 23. We have all of our contracts in place for our steel, our poles, our wood poles, and all the rest of our material. Easement acquisition was started in 24. We're still working on a few of those, but things are coming along well. Contract was awarded to Watts Electric to build the power line. They're from down by Lincoln, so we do have a Nebraska contractor on this. And the Public Service Commission approved it here in September. The construction team, I'll be overseeing the project here. We're actually getting started this week, receiving material. Next week, we hope to be starting drill holes, putting foundations in the ground, things like that. We have an inspector that'll be on this. Actually, I have two, but our main inspector from NPPD, Thad, he has 35 years of experience, just like I do. And the utility experience is pretty much all build power lines, so he knows what he's doing out there. And then Watts Electric also shows in there, been 42 years of business. There's a couple pages there, just kind of shows you the different types of structures and that we'll have. It gets into the construction process, getting the land ready, installing foundations, there's string and wire cleanup and restoration. Part of the land preparation, there'll be some trees and brush to clear, some fences to put in, there'll be some culverts to put in for temporary accesses. Those culverts, we have permits on that. We normally have to pull them back out wherever the permit states and then restore it back to the way we found it. So, right now, MPD crews within within town here have been working, converting some of our overhead power lines to underground to make way for this line to be built. We don't like to build our lower voltage on the same poles as the higher voltage if we can all avoid it. There'll be a little bit right on the north edge of town up by the water tower and the golf course. That'll be a half mile or so, but the rest of it will be singled out. So if you see some crews in there with boring equipment, excavators, things like that, it's a good chance that's what they're doing, is getting things ready to put it underground. But everything we're building, all the high voltage has to be overhead, because in order to put that underground, it's not feasible, very expensive. So. Foundations we're going to put in, we have quite a few of these in town here, and what we're doing in town is the steel poles that we're putting in helps us to avoid putting in down guide wires, things like that. So we can put things, if say there's streets, sidewalks, stuff like that, we can put in steel poles. We don't have anything that would be a hazard in the public that way. Some of the foundations we put in, we got a couple of them be about 8 foot diameter, 30 to 40 foot deep. We have some steel poles, basically it'd be like setting a wood pole, dig a hole, set the pole there, and then we'll backfill around it with concrete. A little different process, but again, anything with angles, what we call dead ends, where the wire comes up and stops on both sides of it, things like that, we try to make it so it's safe for the shows some more pictures in there, on the erection of the structures, shows some of the equipment that we use, of course, these are DPD vehicles, our contractor will also be able to do equipment for us. String and wire, our wire will come in for this project about November, it gets shipped from here directly from the manufacturer, as well as our steel poles have. So, it's what we call twisted pair wire. It's basically two wires twisted into one to make a conductor. And what that does, it helps reduce vibration on the line so the wires don't jump, things like that when you have storms and ice, high winds. Helps prevent a lot of that. So. Restoration and cleanup, we get all done. The contractor will be trying restoring things back where we found it. We watch that real closely. And we work with our landowners to make sure it's put back to the way we found it, unless they have a little change or something that's already done in the easement, and then we do what they would request. We have right-of-way agents that have been working in town here and outside of town for months, and they're still on site and be with us through the construction process. So be answering landowners' questions and things like that. The last one, safety. For DPD, safety is our most important thing we deal with. So if it's not safe, we're not going to do it. But our contractor and us, daily safety meetings, we call them tailgates. Everybody talks, make sure we're on the same page so that everything's safe. Our crews are safe, the public's safe, things like that. If we're on the street, for instance, maybe there's a school close by, we'll try to stay away from things, put the traffic guys down, whatever time it might be, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So things like that. We try to mitigate all the risks we possibly can and just keep everything safe. Any questions?
So on the safety item, these will be high wires. Will some of them have to be marked in with those orange globes? So with crop dusters and stuff north of town, they won't hit the lines?
No, the airport's far enough away, they will not. And not that I know, right? I don't know of any spans that we have that in.
Okay.
Now, if, again, there could be one or two out there, but I don't think there is on this one since we're so far away. And I don't know of any crop dusters that have a business right out the country that us. There wouldn't be anything in town, that's for sure.
Will the new line help with power outages on the north side of town?
So I don't run the distribution system under Dennis Wakeman does, of course. This new line will definitely help with reliability. So we'll have another source coming into town. Generally, I can say yes. I can't speak for Dennis as to how the system's configured, which I could.
With the damaging winds, do you think you'll start using more steel poles? With the recent storms, you had a lot of them down.
We do in the areas, like I said, where we have a lot of the angles, there's a lot of tensions, things like that. Yeah, we like to use them because they do that.
That's good.
Cost-wise, from a cost perspective, there are quite a few good poles. Most of the poles, though, are outside the city limits, the majority of them. So, yeah. Any questions?
And lower voltage wires going underground, is that so there's not interference between the two lines?
Yeah,
Between the
like I
ones
said,
above?
so for maintenance purposes, when we build a high voltage line, we try not to build what we call an underbuild line, a lower voltage line below it. And that way when our guys have to maintain the high voltage, they're able to do so in a safe manner.
Oh, okay.
If you put a lower voltage, like a 12,000 volt line below it, in order to do maintenance on the upper one, you have to take the bottom one out, which sometimes can mean people are out of service. It might be just a brief period of time, a couple hours, something like that. In order to get that underground, we avoid any of these kinds of outages.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, B, council to discuss and consider action on a community festival permit for the Downtown Scottsbluff Association's Trick or Treat on Broadway, October 31st from 3 to 6 p.m. to include noise permit and street closure of the 1600 to 1900 blocks of Broadway. Hello.
I'm Tevye Daly, Recreation and Events Supervisor for the city. I'm here representing the Downtown Association that couldn't be here tonight. So for October 31st, trick or treat street is from 4 to 6 p.m. They're asking that the streets be closed on or before 3 p.m. to make sure all the traffic is off the street for the trick or treat. Businesses can set up, be part of the trick or treat street also, the ones that aren't downtown, like if businesses outside of the area of downtown want to set up a little table, they're able to do that too. And it's self-explanatory, just trick or treat from 3 to 6, or 6 to 9, or 4 to 6, sorry, 4 to 6.
This will be the second time we'll have closed the streets down. It's gotten so popular that we were concerned about pedestrian safety, so we've been doing this for a few years, but this will be the second time we actually closed the streets. Very successful last year. Very popular event.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Colwell, second by Vidlac. Any questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
C, council to discuss and consider action on a community festival permit for the Downtown Scottsbluff Christmas Parade 2024, sponsored by the Downtown Scottsbluff Association on December 1st, 2024, to include vendors, noise permit, and street closure of 15th Street to Bluffs Middle School from 3 to 8 p.m.
This one is, they said it's the same as last year, they're just asking for the road to be closed a little earlier, so the traffic, there's no cars, I guess, when there's cars parked, some of the floats are too wide to get through, so they're trying to eliminate as many cars parked on the street, on the main street as possible, so they wanted the streets to be closed off a little earlier. 3 o'clock, parade would then last, I believe it starts at 6 to 9 after dark, and they would utilize, we also have an event that we're gonna try to piggyback off of it, there's a tree lighting ceremony in the plaza, so we're going to have possibly food trucks, vendors, things like that at the plaza also. And then they'll just travel from the middle school down to 16th Street, I believe.
Oh, they're marching north to south.
I think that's from the middle school to
15th Street. Yeah,
they didn't give me that part of the news.
it's Broadway to 15th Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the intersection at 20th and Broadway, I assume it's just closed when they're actually marching through and then it'll reopen?
Yeah, we'll actually have an officer at 20th Street. Yeah, another event that's really grown over the years, so very popular. So.
Okay.
And Tevye, will the Christmas tree be there for this?
Yeah, we're trying to piggyback off of that, and we're gonna have our Christmas tree lighting ceremony during the day, and then right when it gets dark, we'll light the tree up, and then everybody can disperse to the parade, and then we'll end with the parade.
Cool.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Colwell, second by Solomon. Any questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
D, council to discuss and consider action on a community festival permit for the Downtown Scottsbluff Association's Very Merry Christmas Market on December 7th, 2024 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. to include vendors, noise permit, and the street closure of the 1600 to 1900 blocks of Broadway.
Yep, that's, they're just asking for them to be closed. The market is from 11 to 4, they want it to close by 7 a.m. to give vendors time to set up. They plan on having vendors like music, entertainment, Midwest Theater, I guess is gonna have some things outside and inside. And then the restaurants downtown are gonna have specials, different events like that, so it's a whole day event.
Okay,
And that's a Saturday, right?
all right. Any questions? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Solomon, second by Coldwell. Any questions or comments?
Kevin, have we done this before and closed this during the day?
Yes, we have for
Yes.
the Very Merry Christmas Market. Last year we didn't, we tried it out in the plaza just because it was
Yeah.
brand new. We got a lot of feedback from vendors and store owners on Broadway, and they wanted it back in the streets. They felt like there was more traffic in and out of their businesses. It was just a little bit more spread out, and it was a lot in the shade last year, so it was very cold. So we're hoping
Yeah,
bringing it back to Broadway will.
I don't remember.
So
Me
not
either.
last year, it was in the plaza.
It was in the plaza, so, yeah.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes. 11, bids and awards. Council to discuss and consider action on awarding the bid for the 6th pickleball court project at Westmore Park to Renner Sports Services, AKA Field Turf USA, Inc., in the amount of $356,689.
Okay, if approved, this will go where the tennis courts are, by the Westmore swimming pool. Right now, we'll be able to repurpose that tennis court with 6 pickleball courts. This includes the grading, the surfacing, the fence, the lights, everything. We'll probably have to enlarge a parking lot over there to accommodate. We expect this to get a lot of use. This is probably one of the main things that is suggested to Matt, the Parks Director, is pickleball courts. So this is a bid off a Sourcewell. So it meets the bidding requirements. Just to be thorough, Matt reached out and got a quote from another contractor that does this, and it was substantially more. And this is the company that did the pickleball courts and gearing as well. So we're a little bit familiar with their work. Those in gearing turned out very nice, so.
And these are ARPA funds.
Yes, yes.
So nationally, this has grown quite a bit. Is there evidence that there's local demand for it?
Yes,
Yes.
there is.
Okay.
Yep. The ones in gearing are in use all the time. So there's people waiting to get on them.
Okay.
So I would expect you to notice a lot of people on these courts. Right now, with the tennis court, you rarely ever see anybody over there. The surface went over the top of either a concrete or an asphalt surface, and that's crumbling underneath. So it's not a very desirable place to play tennis even right now. Then we had a tree fall on the fence, so this will be a good project to replace that tennis court.
Do you think you'll expand the parking lot of the Westmore pool in with it? Do you think?
There's actually a parking lot in the alley,
Oh, okay.
so we'll expand that one. We are trying to figure out ways that maybe we can utilize the Westmore pool bathrooms.
Yeah.
So,
good.
and that's one of the reasons we wanted that there as well, is because of those bathrooms.
Okay.
Good.
Do we,
Will this, oh, there's one more question.
Yeah.
Will it be larger than the existing tennis court then?
It'll be relatively the same
About
size.
same, okay.
And that tennis court's not regulation tennis court anyway, right?
No, it's short, yeah.
Okay.
all right. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Vidlac, second by Colwell. Any questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Solomon,
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
12, council reports informational only. This item is intended for council members to update and inform other council members of meetings attended since the last city council meeting. Any updates?
I got a short one for the zoo. So the zoo board met in September. Their zoo board president, Andy Hayward, stepped down, but he's still on the board. Tiffany Shank was elected as the new board president, so that'll be the new contact. Mark Haig is their treasurer. The annual zoo spectacular is coming up. They are looking for pumpkin donations. Apparently, there's not a lot of pumpkins this year because of hail. So if anyone wants to donate pumpkins, they'll take those. And they are bringing back the pumpkin carving contest. And then they're also looking for volunteers from any local organizations that'd be willing to help out just with the spooktacular and handing out candy and helping with the kids. The zoo is also working on getting new animals. They're waiting on making the announcements until they finalize all the details and when they would bring those in. A contract has been offered for one of the finalists for the zoo board director position. It hasn't been officially accepted, so they're waiting to release the name until they make sure all the details are worked out and they're officially okay with coming in, and then they'll announce the name.
Great, thanks.
Anyone else? No? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Colwell, second by Vidlac. Call the roll, please.
McDermott,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Colwell,
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Sorry.
We're adjourned.